All right, how y'all doing? This is day 2 here. I'm on vacation in the great state of Georgia. I'm so excited being on vacation, but it is a work vacation in a sense because here I am talking to you all on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll be uploading on Patreon tonight as well. So I want to talk about this Project 2025. Listen, I wasn't going to touch it. I wasn't going to fool with it. I was just going to wait until probably a few weeks before the election in November, start talking about politics and delving deep into candidates and policies, because we often talk about the persons, but we don't talk about the policies. Somebody that we like or we don't like, but we don't really know much about his or her policies. We just don't. So today I wanted to deal with this this thing called Project 2025, and a lot of people don't know about it. A lot of African Americans don't know about it, and you may not understand that it's been around for a long time, over 35 years. Not the Project 2025, but what's inside of it has always been the mindset. It has been the progressive movement of the conservatives to do something about what is established, even if it means to change the Constitution. I want to talk about that so that you can get a full understanding of it. And I want to bring up some things that you may know about, but you don't know that is part of the 2025. Listen, the Republican strategist Lee Atwater, you remember his name? It's the godfather of the modern political dog whistle. He didn't go around calling it that, a dog whistle. And I can't actually find any evidence that he used the term, okay? But in 1981 interview about how the GOP won the South, Atwater, he offered a concise description. Here's what he said. He said, by 1968, you can't say the N-word. That hurts you. It backfires. So you say stuff like forcing or forced busing or states' rights, he explained. And you're getting so abstract. Now you're talking about cutting taxes. Atwater was speaking anonymously, that's the word, to a political scientist from his perch as a staffer in Ronald Reagan's White House. And he was also telling on himself. He got to start working for this man whom whenever black people hear his name, it reeks racism. He was a segregationist. His name was Strom Thurmond. Y'all remember him. Later, as the campaign manager of George H.W. Bush, he would push the Willie Horton ad, which tied Democratic presidential nominee Michael Dukakis to a black man who committed multiple violent crimes while out on furlough from prison. Remember that? Michael Dukakis lost because of that. And on the surface, it was just a factual criticism about a weekend release program. That's all it was. On a different frequency, it was screaming at white voters about a racist trope. Plausible deniability was crucial. And Atwater told reporters that he at first had known Horton was even black. So this was a dog whistle. And these are the things that was happening behind the curtains. Things are the things that were happening, was what we may call code words. These things and policies was going on in private meetings and backdoor things and in elevators and in men's bathrooms and what have you. Project 2025, though, is out in the open, and they are not hiding it anymore. Let's talk about this in 60. You're good. Don't stop it.
Bass.
It's the show that will get you thinking, and where the topics are hot. Feel free to comment whether we agree or not, 'cause he's got something to say.
Sirwalterj. Sirwalterj. Report live, 7 days a week. Always on time, but this time is not free. Sirwalterj Jones, always on fleek. Latest trending topics, had you jumping out your seat.
He's got something to say.
Come on in. The water's fine.
Hello, everybody. Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm here. It is the midday connection, baby. Come on in. The water's fine. Water's fine. How y'all was? You doing fine? This is the day after the 4th of July. It is a Friday, and mostly people don't really watch on a Friday. I don't do shows on Friday, but today I figured I can do this since it's a working holiday for me, vacation. I have my laptop on my lap, so if you see a little turning and twitching, it's not the cameraman, it's me with the laptop on my lap. Hope I don't give y'all a vertigo. Because I'm better able to read my notes from here, and I got to get a table that's a little shorter where I can just do my thing without it shaking the camera in front of y'all. But I want to bring up some very important points here. What does power tends to corrupt means? The quote, power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Y'all remember that phrase? So it comes from a 19th century English historian called Lord Acton. Lord Acton, 1834 to 1902. This is a teaching channel, so we got to take you way back in history for you to understand what's going on today. And if you can't take the history, you need to leave the show and go somewhere else where somebody's blabbing off something. In a letter to Bishop Mandel Crichton, right? These are English names that I'm not that great with, about how historians should judge the abuse of power by past rulers, especially the popes. Acton's observation is interpreted to mean that the more power someone has, the more their sense of morality is weakened. Remember when Donald Trump says, Biden said to Trump, you have the morals of a alley cat? Remember when he said that? Great line, very funny. But it was brilliant because it's true. The more power that's given to someone, the morality is weakened. People cite or reference the quote today to warn against the abuses of unchecked power, especially in the context of political or government. So Acton is saying that powerful people shouldn't just get a pass. The fact of their power doesn't make them somehow morally superior. In fact, it tends to have the opposite effect. Power enables people to commit or get away with horrible atrocities. So in his letter, Acton cites the Spanish Inquisition and Queen Elizabeth's execution of Mary, Queen of Scots. So as examples, they say, let's break down the language of the quote, and power tends to corrupt. People in positions of power often abuse their power to do bad things. Power tends to corrupt. These people who are in positions, and the positions of power, like your pastor, bishop, apostle, prophet, they often abuse their power, and they do it to do bad things. They become corrupted or morally compromised. So absolute power corrupts absolutely. The more authority someone has, the worse their morality becomes. What? Absolute. Absolute here means unlimited or without constraint. So rulers who don't have any limits on their power tend to become corrupted beyond any limit. So the moral of the story, power can make people do some pretty messed up things. So Acton felt that it was the historian's job to make sure powerful people were brought to account, even if only in hindsight. What Trump and other presidents what attempted to do was to take the power that they have and to corrupt it, whether they knew they were doing it or not, because some men can't handle that kind of power, because it does something to a man's moral. This is why Donald Trump wanted to have a military parade. That kind of power was going through his veins, and it's because of the man he already was. And then you give that kind of man that kind of power, he will corrupt it. He didn't start it. Many presidents corrupted this power. All right. So, with that being said, we need division politically. This is going to sound really funny to you all, weird to you all. We need division in America politically, but not religiously. Sounds weird, doesn't it? Everybody cannot be on one accord politically. We cannot believe the same thing politically. Religiously, we must, as believers in Jesus Christ, we must, because Paul wrote a letter to the Corinthian church, 1 Corinthians chapter 1. He mentioned that we all should be believing the same thing. There should not be factions. In a political arena, though, in government, in civics, you cannot have people believing the same thing. You can't. It's virtually impossible. You call this a Christian nation? It is not. It never have been. Because the people, the millions who are Christians, don't even agree with their others' stance on Christianity or what the Bible says. We're divided in that. So we came up with a system. We didn't come up with a system. It's been the system in other nations way before America came along. We're only a few hundred years old. We're young. We're a very young nation. We might be a superpower, but we're younger than most. Bicameralism is the word. Bicameralism is the type of legislator that is divided into two separate assemblies. Two assemblies or chambers or houses, known as bicameral legislature. We need it. Bicameral is distinguished from unicameralism, in which all members deliberate and vote as a single group. We can't have that in America. It's impossible. No democracy has it and succeeded. As of 2022, roughly 40% of the world's national legislators are bicameral, while unicameral represents 60% nationally and much more at the subnational level. So we are bicameral, but Project 2025 wants to push us into unicameralism, which is virtually impossible in America. And if we can get to unicameralism, it's going to be even much worse. So you have to refresh your memory on the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting and establishing of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble. Notice, the conservative, typically if somebody's in power on that end, typically attacks the First Amendment. But if you turn on the conservative media, they're saying that the left is attacking the First Amendment. Project 2025 will annihilate the First Amendment. This is the most bipolar conservative movement I have ever seen in my life. That what's attacked. Notice when Donald Trump and the conservatives, or mostly Trump and his administration, he attacks the press. Attacks them. Why? Because the press don't follow suit with him. he wants a press that he wants a state press like Russia or China or North Korea. The press must agree with everything that he says. This goes against the First Amendment. The freedom of speech, the freedom of press, and people who have a right to peaceably assemble. And the petition, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Hence we see the Declaration of Independence that I showed you all on yesterday's show. So, Trump runs for election. He wins. He puts Steve Bannon in the House. Steve Bannon always wanted a strong man authoritarian form. Always. And guess what? He is about to get it if Trump is put back into office. He's about to get it. I'm going to say something else shocking to y'all. The Hebrews could not survive under democracy. The Hebrew people of the Bible, they couldn't survive. God didn't set up a democracy. God set up judges. But after he set up judges, is because they had rejected a system that God had set up. What was that? Theocracy. They could hardly cooperate under theocracy, which is God rule. So God gave them judges, but they wanted a king. They wanted an authoritarian. They wanted a strong man. Why? Because the other nations had it. America is likened to these people in the Old Testament, the Bible. They looked over and saw other nations operating under a controlled system, a strong man. And this Project 2025 is going to lead America into the 60% that I mentioned, the unicameralism earlier. That's what it's going to do. Likewise with the Hebrews. I'm going to tell you a secret here to all of you who are my white brothers and sisters who's watching. This may not apply to you, but white European, Anglo-Saxon men were never comfortable under a democracy. Never. You were never comfortable under it. Even though you set it up in 1776, you were never comfortable with it. Never. I'll talk about that in a minute. Project 2025, its policies go back to the Reagan administration. Y'all remember Reaganomics? Well, this is the Heritage Foundation. Dr. Kevin Roberts is now the president now, but back then, let me tell you, and their effort is Trumpism will be the standard. This is not something that's hidden in a back door or on some private party or on some yacht. They're talking about, Trump is the way. No, they're telling you in media, press releases, that Trumpism will be the standard. The standard for whatever president will come in office after Trump is long gone. Trumpism is the way, like Reaganomics. And how are they able to release this now? Why you didn't hear about it many years prior through other administrations? Because they finally got a place where the justices are like the horses of the apocalypse. There's 6 conservative justices. I am a conservative man. Thank God for conservative values. We need conservatism in America. Unfortunately, the men who say they are conservatives are not. People who say they are Christians are not. People who say they are your friend are not. Everybody seems like they're bootlegging. A person who say he's an apostle is not. He is a fake apostle. Scripture says in the book of Revelation, and there were super apostles in the Corinthian church. They are not. People who say they are Jews, they are fake Jews. They are not. Hebrew Israelites, they're fake. They are not. They're just not. What is that white woman who worked for the NAACP and she portrayed herself as a black woman? Remember her? Fooled everybody. Was the president in that little local town of the local NAACP. And she totally appropriated everything, our culture, our look, our hair, all of that. One problem though. She's a white woman. And we are seeing this everywhere. Rachel Dolezal. Yeah, y'all remember her? Her name is in the her name is in the dictionary. Yeah, Joseph Hankins says Trump posted today that he does not know anything about Project 2025. It is amazing how somebody could lie like that, and millions of people will agree with it. All right. So, Trumpism. Let's look at the conservative justices. Okay. The Chief Justice is John G. Roberts Jr. Okay. Ronald Reagan. He was a counsel to Ronald Reagan. Okay. Then we have Clarence Thomas. He's associate judge. Yeah, obviously a conservative. We have Samuel A. Alito, associate judge. George Bush nominated him. We have Sonia Sotomayor. I believe Bill Clinton. Yeah, Clinton nominated her. Elaine Kagan. Okay, is an associate. Let's see. Neil M. Gorsuch. Y'all remember when he got in there not long ago, and y'all know how he got in there. Brett M. Kavanaugh. All right, we know how he got in. Amy Coney Barrett. We know how she got in. And notice their hearings. Their hearings was, Kavanaugh hearing was jacked up. Coney Barrett was jacked up. His hearings. Okay. Then we got Ketanji Brown Jackson. All right. There are three retired justices that we don't ever hear about anymore. Anthony M. Kennedy, David H. Souter, and Stephen G. Breyer. They're still alive, but they're retired. Right. But the court has been tipped to the right, and what the liberals are trying to do is pack the court. This is their best chance to get some kind of bipartisanship, bicameral in the court, and an equal slate. Of course, you can't have you got to have an off number, or you're gonna have a tie. So, pack the court is what they're saying. All right. Well, good luck with that. But let's talk about the Project 2025, the Trump presidency. It is his wish list. Okay. So, the blueprint called the Project 2025 and produced by the Conservative Heritage Foundation is one of several think tanks proposed by Trump's platform. Over more than 900 pages, you all. It calls for sacking thousands of civil servants, expanding the power of the presidency. This is the most important part here. Expanding the power of the presidency. Dismantling the Department of Education. They want to get rid of the food, FDA. They want to get rid of the Environmental Protection Agency. I'm talking agencies that actually save people's lives. They want to get rid of it. The Department of Education, gone. And other federal agencies and sweeping tax cuts. The Heritage Foundation unveils its agenda in April last year, and the liberal opposition ramped up as President Trump has taken the lead in polls after President Biden's poor debate performance. Okay, now let's find out what this is all about. They have different headings here: government, immigration, climate and economy, abortion, tech, and education. So as far as government is concerned, it proposes that the entire federal bureaucracy, including independent agencies such as the Department of Justice, now you gotta pay attention to this one right here. I never thought I'd see something like this. All right, this is Donald Trump. All right, here's what Donald Trump. Boy, I tell you, he's something else. Here's what he's saying. All right, this is his. This is what he's saying here. Y'all see that right there. Okay. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who is behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. He didn't come up with that word. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. That is the craziest. That lying has become the soup du jour in his life. It's just amazing. You best believe that he's been meeting with them. He's been telling them what to do, what he liked and what he disliked. There's no way in the world that they would release something so abominable as some of this stuff in here and not contact their dear leader. The lies. That meme with that black girl, the lies. I need to find that meme. It's amazing. Okay, he's just lying. So the government proposes that the entire federal bureaucracy, including independent agencies such as the Department of Justice, be placed under direct presidential control. A conversation idea known as the unitary executive theory. No more wall, a separation between the presidency and the Department of Justice. No. Placed under direct presidential control. In practice, that would streamline decision making, allowing the president to directly implement policies in a number of areas. The proposal also called for eliminating job protections for thousands of government employees who can then be replaced by political appointees. The document labels the FBI a bloated, arrogant, increasingly lawless organization. Okay, it's true. And calls for drastic overhauls of this and other federal agencies, including eliminating the Department of Education. You know, some of that might be a good idea. Yeah, there it is. Here it is, y'all. There it is. I'm not in my office, so I have to put my phone on the screen. That's a great meme right there. Okay, what else? Immigration. All right, you all read these documents here because it's something. Read Project 2025. But get get the short list, because the long list, it's just too long. It's 900 pages, you all. All right. So the justices decided that they were going to take this thing that the lower court decided. I'm sorry, we can't do this. The lower court said that nobody was immune from the law in America. That included Donald Trump, because Donald Trump wanted total immunity. He has always felt that he can do whatever he wants to as a president of the United States. The lower court said, hecky to the no. That ain't happening. Well, we should have heard the last of it. No, the Supreme Court could have ignored it, but no, they took it up for a reason. They took the case, they held it on their desks for months. Why? I'm going to tell you why they held it. After they held it, then they came out with the ruling saying that presidents basically have complete immunity. In a sense, they can the executive privilege, they took it to a whole nother ungodly level. If this was a liberal court, there's no way in hell they would have allowed it. There's something about the liberals that's different than the conservatives. The liberals do tend to play along with the other side. And guess what? That is to the detriment of the liberals, their weakness. The Democratic Party is weak because the conservatives are more together. Even though they seem divided, they have more financial prowess. They come together more. Okay? Hence the Project 2025, millions and millions of dollars raised for that project. They come together. Whenever there's a Democratic president, notice, Obama, it started with Clinton. You saw it. Clinton agreed with the Republicans to the point where they begin to call Clinton a moderate. He was in the middle, even though he was a Democratic president, but he needed to agree with them because he wanted to stay in office, number one, but he needed his policies passed, so he agreed with them. Barack Obama tried to do the same thing, and Biden did the same thing. The Democratic Party, that's where their weak point is. They're not as staunch and heavy and like a tree planted by the rivers of water. I shall not be moved. That's the conservative. That's the Republican Party, not Democratic Party. All right. So the Democratic Party is very weak, and they sit back and they allow these things to happen, whether it's behind the curtains, behind the back doors, and what have you, dealings, or right in the face. They just let it, and then when it comes out, they'll say, okay, all right, we'll agree, and they'll agree, and it is the Trojan horse effect. That's what it is. It's the Trojan horse effect. And this is how the Republicans and the conservatives always get over y'all. I'm a conservative, and trust me, I know. This is how they get over y'all. Y'all are weak. Y'all are weak. And the Republicans, even though you see the chaos on that side, they stick together. How is it possible that a man was in court for having sex with a porn star? One of the most unconservative things you can do is cheat on your wife with a prostitute. Your wife is pregnant, didn't have his baby, and then try to cover up. That's the most unconservative thing that you could do. And the conservative men and women left their post of duty and went down to the courthouse and dressed up like the man who was defending himself, dressed up like him in solidarity. So y'all saying that the Republican Party is jacked up and what have you, divided. They might be jacked up and divided, but when it comes to chaos, they are united. Even in their shams, they're united. The Democratic Party, in many cases, show more moralities in many things. When somebody in Congress acted fool, the boy showed his penis in his drawers, and his party told him, you need to resign. And many of their cohorts did despicable things, and his own party said, you got to go. That was the conservative thing to do. But the Democrats were doing that. So, you need to resign. It just doesn't look good. It shows that we're divided. The only time we saw that happen in the Republican Party, the last time that is when Richard Nixon was running, and his party came to him and says, you need to resign. Trump is the antithesis, is the juxtaposition of that gone by era. That Trump is allowed to do anything immoral, and his party will stand by your man. They Tammy Wynetted him. So it shows the strength in the Republican Party, and it shows the weakness in the Democratic Party, even though the Democratic Party shows some morals. When somebody acted a fool, they get rid of him. Because they want the Republican Party to see that we have morals. So what? We like to kill babies. So what? We like two men sleeping together, and the White House is now the gay flags and all that stuff. So what? We're still more moral. Isn't this something? This is the land that we live in, y'all. This is where we are. It's amazing. I don't think. Do y'all understand what's going on in the world you live in? So the justices says they lied under oath. 3 of the Supreme Court justices committed perjury, but you couldn't prove it because they had to lie under oath and then get in office and then do the very thing that they said that is unconstitutional. No president is above the law. 3 or 4 of them said that in their hearing. You want me to prove it?
No one's above the law in the United States. That's a foundational principle.
And nobody is above the law in this country, and that includes the President of the United States.
No person in this country, no matter how high or powerful, is above the law.
I believe that no one is above the law under our system, and that includes the President. The President is fully bound by the law, the Constitution, and statute.
Fully bound by the law, the constitutions, and statutes. That's not what he wrote yesterday, because once upon a time, the authors of that immunity decision had a different view on whether a president is above the law, or at least that's what they said in their Senate confirmation hearings when they needed votes to become lifetime tenured justices.
Nobody is above the law. They lied under oath. Lied. They lied. Because their intent was, let me get in that office. Because you can't kick me out once I get in there. It's not. There is no term limit there. Then say Trump is not coaching like you want. I'm not coaching. I affiliate with the coaching church. I ain't coaching. Like I ain't America, but I live here. I'm amazed, y'all. Yeah, that didn't marinate too well. It's amazing. The same ones who said that were the ones who says, let me read some of their rulings here, you all, so that we could, so you can see. Okay, this is Justice Roberts. Let me see. He says, the danger is greater than what led the court to recognize absolute presidential immunity from civil damages liabilities. That the president would be chilled from taking the bold and unhesitating action required of an independent execution. And the executive branch has exclusive authority and absolute discretion to decide which crimes to investigate and prosecute, including with respect to allegations of election crime. This is Judge Roberts. This is what he's saying. This is what he's saying. The same one who says he's not above the law. Let me continue. The indictment's allegations that the requested investigations were shams or proposed for an improper purpose do not divest the president of exclusive authority over the investigative and prosecutorial functions of the Justice Department and its officials. No more walls of separation. Let's continue. The president's management of the executive branch requires him to have unrestricted power to remove the most important of his subordinates, such as the Attorney General, in their most important duties. Unrestricted power. He can do whatever he wants to, however he wants to do it. Then Sotomayor gave the main dissent, the most prominent dissent. Dana, I'm going to run for Senate. I'm running, I'm telling you. I need to run for president first, then I'll downgrade. The president of the United States is the most powerful person in the country and possibly the world. When he uses his official powers in any way under the majority ruling or reasoning, he now will be insulated, not insulted, but it's an insulting thing. Insulated from criminal prosecution. Ordered the Navy's SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival. He can win and order Team 6 to assassinate Biden if he wants to. Order the Navy's SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, immune. Organize a military coup to hold on to power, immune. Takes a bribe in exchange for a pardon, immune. 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 This is what she said. Never in the history of our republic has the president had reason to believe that he would be immune from criminal prosecution if he uses the trappings of his office to violate the criminal law. Moving forward, however, all former presidents will be cloaked in such immunity. If the occupant of that office misuses official power for personal gain, the criminal law that the rest of us must abide will not provide a backstop. With fear for our democracy, she says, I dissent. And Judge Brown says this: who will be responsible for drawing the crucial line between the president's personal and official affairs? To ask the question is to know the answer. A majority of this court, applying an indeterminate test, will pick and choose which law applies to which president. Did you notice that? That was great. You know, a sister had to go there. The courts will decide which president. If Biden gets in, this ruling is now set. It is the law. And then if Biden committed crime, the court will say, this doesn't apply to Biden. If Trump's get in and does the same crime, that court will say, no, this applies to Trump. He's immune. That's basically what she's saying here. All right? By labeling his various allegedly crimes acts as core, official, or manifestly or palpably beyond the president's authority. A lot of these are legal words that is above my pay grade. Did you ever think that you would be living in a society like this? That you couldn't even fathom that a conversation like this will be going on. So the lower courts said that nobody was immune from the law in America. That includes Trump. So then the Supreme Court then takes the case, sits on it. They were waiting on the Trump cases, the legal cases, to come to fruition, and they did. They took the case for a reason, you all. Number one, I believe the conservative justices' wives got involved. Brother Roberts, his wife flew the flag upside down in 2 places. And then, who y'all call Uncle Tom, his wife got involved. The wives are involved, and they speak to their men in the bed. The Supreme Court justice is supposed to be in the middle. It's supposed to be neutral. It's supposed to be. Well, whichever president nominates them, they are obviously either liberal, if the president's liberal, and they're obviously conservative, which is if the president's conservative. They're supposed to be in the middle. That's impossible. Based off of many of the historical rulings, I'm sorry to tell y'all, they're not neutral. That's what they say. Beautiful you. But they're not. They're not. The silverback. Lord Jesus. They're not neutral. The wives is running the show. Number two, the conservatives had an upper hand because there are 6 conservatives. They had an upper hand. And number 3, they delayed the ruling for a reason. Why? Once they waited until they got the upper hand, they waited until those court cases came on the scene, the legal courts against Donald Trump, and it was a plan, it was a strategic plan. They can then give him total immunity. He can then have a better chance of getting back in the office, and then they could allow the United States to run in a conservative manner with them in the helm and get to a place of even Christian nationalism. That is the Supreme Court totally not doing their job. When Donald Trump won the 2016 election, he said that it was rigged. Even though he won, he said it was rigged. He told y'all about himself right then. He told y'all about his future as being a powerful man when he said, after he won, that the system was rigged. So who do you think we should vote for? Both of them. You're not voting for a person who's a sinner. No. This is not church. This is not about salvation. This is about morals, which seem like, what, isn't that about sin? Well, yes and no. When it comes to politics, notice what I said earlier. You need to have 2 sides when it comes to politics, but you need to have one unified side when it comes to religion. When it comes to your love for Jesus Christ and salvation, there needs to be one. When it comes to government, there needs to be 2 sides. Y'all remember when I said that at the beginning of the show? Did anybody understand why I said that though? The concept behind that? Michael Booth, blessings to you, said, what's my take on Christian nationalism? I think I did a show on Christian nationalism. Christian nationalism is a major joke. Thank you. This is about your freedom. Thank you. Morals and ethics. Yes. You the doctor. Danica Lyons is killing it here. Monkey Moves, Christian nationalism is about power. It has nothing to do with Jesus Christ, the Father, the Son, or the Holy Spirit. Absolutely nothing. It's about power. That's why Project 2025 is perfect for those who are part of the Christian nationalism. All right? It's about ultimate power, which gets rid of the First Amendment. You understand? Which means that Christianity must be the state religion of the nation. And you know good and well you can't have that, because that goes against the beginning of our democracy in America because of the 13 colonies. They ran from Great Britain because it was a state religion over there. The king had a state religion, so they ran from that. If they didn't run from that, and they ran for other reasons, there would not be a First Amendment in our Constitution. The First Amendment is there as a spit in the face for Great Britain. Religion and press is in there for a reason. So Christian nationalism is going back to Great Britain and saying, you know, I like what they did here. I like what they did here. I like what they did. Let's do that here. Do you understand? So it is a ploy. It is a dog whistle so that we can have somebody in ultimate power. Call it Christianity. But notice I said earlier, in the scriptures, there were fake apostles, fake Jews, fake prophets, fake Christians, fake. And Christian nationalism, the word Christian is in there, it doesn't belong because it's fake, like Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is a dog whistle. And they will tell you that we are trying to give these women good health care. And you're right, they do other things. They help women, you know, for other little problems and issues going on in their bodies, like a little clinic, what have you. But let me tell you, over in the corner, though, millions of babies are being murdered in this beautiful place called Planned Parenthood. They had to call it that because they couldn't use eugenics. It was offensive. So Christian nationalism is palatable because Christian is in the name, but it means ultimate power. Y'all understand? Then the end shall come. Come on, glory. That's it right there. I believe this who Christian nationalism is bringing a bad rep on the Christian and his word. Yep. Yes, I know the gates of hell shall not prevail, but this is making the soil hard for those to receive the gospel. Sure is. Mary, if you don't preach this gospel, girl, you're doing it right now. As followers of Christ, I can't vote for Biden because he is all for abortion and killing unborn babies. He is a supporter of the women's rights, but Trump isn't. And Trump has a different type of immoral thing, Loretta Jean. Trump is everything that this show represents. Which one would you have, rather? A man who decides that killing babies is okay? Or Donald Trump, who wants to take you as an African American person back to a place of Jim Crow and widen the gap, the economic gap between black and white, widening it by giving these ridiculous, amazing tax breaks to the rich, which will affect you. Your rent goes up, your mortgage goes up, your car note goes up, your taxes go up. Which of the evils do you want? And he's not a pastor and president, but which immorality do you want? A man who continues to lie, everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie, and all of the dastardly deeds and nasty things that he's done to his own wife, and a shame against his own children. Which immoral do you want? A man who wants to kill babies continuously, let gays lay with each other? Or this man who is trying to take the nation in which you live in into an authoritarian fascism? Which one? It's really up to you. Which moral do you want? It's your choice. Whichever you vote for, you lose. Anybody you vote for, you lose. because it's politics. Come on, Dana. I've been saying that for years. Both parties is the same snake with two different heads. Amen, Loretta. I do appreciate you. Yeah. It's heavy. It really is heavy. Whoever we vote for, if we don't vote for any of them, whoever we write in. Well, unless you write my name in there. If you write my name in there, you're doing good. But you know I can't be the president. I will never, nobody knows me but the bunkers. We are jacked up. Yep. Two wings on the same dirty bird. Come on, Luann. Come on, Luann. I love you, Luann. You know you just boy on the Zoom session. I just like looking at her because she's always smiling and just so full of joy of the Lord. I'm gonna miss them Zoom sessions because I enjoy looking at your smile. It's just beautiful. It encourages me. When Trump won the 2016 election, he said it was rigged. When he won the Republican primaries, guess what he said? It was rigged. When he ran for re-election in 2020, guess what he said? It was rigged. When he lost the election in 2020, guess what he said? It was rigged. Donald Trump don't understand the election process because after every election, whether he win or not, it's rigged. That is what he's telling you what his mentality is. So after Trump got into the race, then the Republican Party, who was supposed to be the strong party with morals, scratched any plans or policies that they had, and they rallied around one immoral man, dear leader. That's why they left the Capitol building, went down there to the courthouse to stand in solidarity with who? Their dear leader. When y'all saw that, you saw God set the clock. He set the clock. And every other nation around the world is ran this way. And slowly, America is losing its democracy and getting ready to run like those other nations. 60% of them are unicameral. Remember, I used that word. And many of them are authoritarian ran. Communism, socialism, Nazism, fascism, all these words that y'all hear about that sound so distant, please, it's coming to a country near you. You know, the one you live in right now. Let's look at the definition of fascism and tell me what you think of Project 2025. Tell me what you think about Project 2025. I'm not being difficult, but why no one, for the babies that are here being murdered? It seems like they only care about babies in the womb. Yeah, why babies in the womb? And yeah, Rachel, we talked about that several times on our show. Several times. Somebody will be standing outside a Planned Parenthood building, stopping women from going inside there to kill that baby. And many women have turned and decided not to. Thank God for those people who are standing at the doors. As soon as that same girl decided to have the baby, those people standing at the doors of the Planned Parenthood is like, that's your problem. That's your problem. How we know? Because we see the policies. We see how they're acting in their communities. Me and the baby you told me not to kill, now we getting ready to move in your neighborhood, and you like, no, you can't move here. Y'all had a meeting with the bank, you had a meeting with the realtors, and you had a meeting with your senators. Can't move here. Don't kill that baby, but you can't come over here. We can't give you business loans. And if we give you this, yeah, your interest rate is going to be much higher than ours. Yeah. That's the problem right there. It sounds good to say, don't kill a baby. But once that baby lives, you're on your own. And yeah, I mentioned the whole dog thing. If a stray dog was walking up and down a white suburban community, them white folks will be doing all they can. They'll be bringing out water and milk and food. They'd be calling. They'd be trying to adopt the dog, seeing what we can do to shelter the dog from the heat or the snow or the rain, all kinds of stuff. But if a black man was walking down a white suburban community disheveled, them same white folks would be locking their doors, calling the police, putting bullets in their guns. Yeah. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. They love their dogs more than they love you. This is not for all white folks, okay? Because, white people tend to be very sensitive when I talk about this stuff because they think I'm being general. Like, come on, I got my best friend is white. He's right here. My best friend is white. It's sad, y'all. Come on, Addie. But you're right. Yeah. That birth pains, you can feel it, can't you? I don't know how to feel it because women I can't have a baby. Yeah, Nubian. Black people are defending it. And it's mostly conservative blacks because they don't know how to read behind. Yeah, the fine print. They don't know how to read. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, ultranationalist political ideology and movement. Fascism. They were saying during the administration of Barack Obama that he was a fascist. It's easy to call people names. But this Project 2025 will be the birth of one of the greatest fascisms we've seen in modern history. Characterized by a dictatorial leader, he has complete immunity, centralized autocracy, militarism. Trump wanted a parade. Forcible suppression of opposition. Trump wanted to get rid of the media. Belief in a natural social hierarchy. Subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race, and strong regimentation of society and the economy. Get rid of this, get rid of that, put this in here. They want to get rid of your electric cars and your digital this and solar this, and the Project 2025 wants to save fossil fuel. I get it. We're used to it. We love it. We think that's it. That's why they're so against these tech giants like Apple and Amazon and all these other folks. Opposed to anarchism, democracy, opposed to democracy, opposed to pluralism, opposed to liberalism, opposed to socialism and Marxism. Fascism is placed on the far right wing within the traditional left-right spectrum. That's what fascism is. And it's coming to America fast. There's a strong wind coming from the south, the Bible Belt. And Benito Mussolini, the leader of the fascist Italian group, and Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi Germany, are both examples of the great fascists in world history. It's coming to America. Do you understand? A strong southern wind is coming. Lord have mercy on me. All right, so you got monarchy. It's a form of government in which ruling powers is in the hands of one person. Well, there really no government that's run under monarchy. It seemed like, even Great Britain got rid of the monarchy. They're parliaments. Then there's anarchy, which fascism is totally against, but anarchy is coming. Everybody must be armed. That's anarchy. Oh, it's coming. Because of the Project 2025. That's coming. All right? But they are against democracy, the rule of people. The people rule. What democracy means. Demos means is people. And Crotein means to rule. The people rule. Of the people, by the people, for the people. We come together, like the Declaration of Independence says, and if we don't like government, then we have the right to change government. Thomas Jefferson's wonderful words. They want to get rid of that. The flaw in democracy is that the majority can't be restrained, though. If more than half can be persuaded, more than half, then they are the ones that rule, and that's a problem, y'all. So in democracy, the lower class grows bigger and bigger. That's the fear of democracy. The poor becomes the winners. That's the fear. That's why when white people hear that blacks won't be the minority in the year 2040 or 50, they are afraid, scared. Because they're afraid that what happened to us is going to happen to them. And black people ain't trying to do that. Okay? So the poor become the winners. Diversity is the supreme. And people are free to do what they want and live the way they want. So people can even break the law if they choose so. That's a part of democracy. Believe it or not. This appears to be very similar to anarchy. Now, the word democracy does not appear in the Declaration of Independence, nor is it in the Constitution. We say we are a democracy, but we're really not. It's not in the Constitution. The founders did everything that they could do to keep us from a democracy. They didn't want it. But we so-called got it today. We're not a democracy. It is a perceived place that we are. We are actually an oligarchy. We're not a democracy. An oligarchy is the form of government which is a ruling body is in the hands of just a few leaders. They're wealthy, that 1%, and those special interest groups that pays for your Congress people and giving those trips and all this stuff to the Supreme Court justices. They're the ones that's ruling. Then there is the republic. Which one are we? Are we a democracy or are we a republic? Republic, res, meaning a thing, and publica, which means public. Are we a republic? A republic is the law. The government is limited by law, which leaves the people alone. Well, y'all know we ain't that. The Romans built a republic. Rome became wealthy, but the people forgot that the essence of freedom is in the proper limitations of government. The Republican Party, hence the name Republic, their mantra was to limit government. Project 2025 is set up to limit government. That's why they want to get rid of the Department of Education and the Federal Drug Administration and the EPA and federal other because it's an overreach for the government. I'm for that, not having the government overreach. But many of the departments that's in place right now has been a blessing to us because we did need it, or we would have a problem with our air and all this other stuff. Unfortunately, what the Supreme Court just did was give also almost immunity to corporations. That should be part 3. And African Americans will suffer greatly under Project 2025. You just don't know it. So republic. When government gets bigger, the freedom of the people recedes. And once the government creates subsidies and aid to the people begin to rely on the government for more and more and more. Hence, the welfare queens of Ronald Reagan. He called them bucks and welfare queens. Once the government create those subsidies, people then begin to suck on the breast of the government. They want more. So the people traded freedom for security. And it is what the gangs, it is what the mafia did when they would go to your new store that opened up. And the mafia come in and say, okay, listen, you want protection, right? Yeah, you need the protection. It would be a sad thing if something should happen to this beautiful establishment. It would be a shame. And so I'm here to protect you. If you, let's see, how do we do this? You pay me every week $1,000. I'll make sure that no one comes in here. It would be a shame that this place would just burn down. That's what's going on right now. That's a republic. Rome fell because they went from a republic to a democracy, and then they ended up in an oligarchy under the progression of Caesar. And it takes 400 years for a nation to go through its full cycle before it's destroyed. So America is the new Roman Empire. Y'all understand? We were of the republic for which it stand, one nation under God. You get it? It's written in there. So republic, that's how Rome fell. They imploded. Somebody from the outside didn't come in and destroy them. They imploded. They got weak. So Rome fell, but because they were a republic. And then they needed the people to have the people did an uprise and say, okay, like the Declaration of Independence, we don't like it, so we need to change it. So the people came together and set up a democracy. And then in that democracy came absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the person who gets the most power, his morality is weakened, and then it comes to oligarchy because now he's wealthy, he's rich, and everybody like Lucifer was in heaven. He wanted to be like God and be God. So here comes the oligarchy, and then under that you get one leader. In walks the Project 2025, an authoritarian strongman. You select it, and that's why I said at the early onslaught of this show, I said that it is very difficult for white European Anglo-Saxon men. They are never comfortable under a democracy. They never have been comfortable, and they never will be comfortable. Do you understand? All right? And that's how I'm going to end the show. I want y'all to get a good history lesson. History is repeating itself. All right? And if you don't study the history, you are doomed to repeat it. We are not a democracy or a republic. Some even said we're a democratic republic. I'm sorry to tell you. And after we realize the oligarchyism of who we are, The last result will become tyranny. It's a system, a form of government in which ruling powers is in the hands of a person who has seized control. Democracy then denigrates or degenerates actually into tyranny, where no one has discipline and society exists only in chaos, and democracy is taken over by for the longing of freedom. We want to be free. Well, you were free before, but you put up a Project 25 thing and think that you're now free to do whatever. No, power must be seized to maintain order. A champion will come along and experience power, which will cause him to become a tyrant. Then the people will start to hate him and eventually try to remove him, but will realize that they can't remove him. And then we are now in a state of antichristism. Here he is. So have you never seen any of the Sirwalterj Jones shows ever? This is the one you want to see, where I lay it out for you. Your grandchildren will see things that you ain't gonna see, but you are alive today to see the beginnings of how the Antichrist will walk in and say, I own the place. How you own the place? America gave it to me. Project 2025. It is the beginning of the destruction of America, but it's been around a long time. It's like a cicada bug that comes up every 17 years. Where is he hiding? In the ground, waiting on his turn. He came up this year in Illinois and wreaked havoc on plant life and animal life and man life, right? Project 2025 had been underground for a long time. Here it is. It's your choice what you're going to do. I don't worry about any of this, because as long as we're in the safety arms of Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit leads and guides us and shows us all truth, none of y'all should be worried about any of this stuff. It's just something for us Christians to talk about, but that stuff don't affect us. No. You may be able to kill my body through it, but my soul is anchored in the Lord. And when I wake up after you done killed my body, death, oh grave, where is your sting? Death, where's your grave? Grave, where's your your victory? All these things, where is it? Nah, I'm good. And whoever's president in the next few months, I don't care. I know how to save. I know how to invest. I know how to be patient. I know how not to be greedy. I know how to put away for emergency purposes. And I know how to pray and intercede and visit people in the hospitals and in the jails. And I do all the things that as an ambassador from heaven. So we just live here temporarily. This is not our home, by the way. This is a temporary place to dwell. That's all it is. Okay, we're tabernacling here. All right, but we're just down here trying to see what we can do to help people. And so our job now, because of the unrest that you've been hearing about, is to witness to those, make sure that when their bodies are killed, that they too will wake up like you. And right there's Jesus looking you right in the face. You say, "Oh, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Come into the presence of the Lord." That's your job. Christians should not be worried about this stuff. Go and vote and go to your local, do your local elections. Go to the student councils, teachers meetings, and your town halls. Do all of that stuff, because you live in the world, so you should actually be playing a part in all this stuff, to try to make the world a better place. But let me tell you, don't put your trust in it. Don't put your trust in it. All right, do what you can to show the world that because you're a Christian that you do care. So show up to those events because you are representing the body of Christ. But while you're there, speak to the person next to you who's got a sign up that says Trump or Biden. Listen, I got a better candidate. Who is it? Where is it? Come here, let's step outside. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves and one another. Hit the share button. Subscribe to the Sirwalterj Show. Most of you ain't subscribed. Y'all just come around here for getting free lunch and stuff. And go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. When you do that, you share the gospel all over the world, because YouTube's, they just start sharing my stuff all over the place. Okay, do that, do that. Meanwhile, I'm going to go and see what Atlanta got going on. It's hot here. It's in the 90s every single day. And so I've been staying in, because it's even too. I took my bike out last night to ride around, and yes, I brought my bike. I got an Infinity with a nice cargo in the back, so I was able to bring that. But anyway, couldn't stay out there too long. Rode around the block maybe once or twice, and almost burnt up at 11 o'clock at night. It's hot here, y'all. Hot Atlanta is here. All right, so y'all stay cool, will you please? Take care. I'll shoot something for Patreon tonight. I'm gonna talk about some Bible stuff tonight on Patreon in the upper room. If you're not in the upper room, $12 room, I'm sorry. I got to talk to those people tonight. All right, something will be dropping tonight. Talk to you soon. Take care.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?